Hello, DV Lottery 2025 winners and the incoming DV Lottery 2026 selectees. Please, if you can, try to keep your host as long as you can. Your host is one important person in your DV Lottery journey, and the host matters a lot because you need that person from the time you fill your DS260 form to the time you get to the port of entry in the United States, and up to the time after moving from your host to your own apartment, you still need your host to guide you through. So that's why I'm saying that it's important that you have a good relationship with your host going forward, even after filling the DS260 form. So guys, if you are watching us for the first time and you have not subscribed to this channel, it's our humble request as usual, you consider subscribing, share our videos to family and friends, and refer them to our previous videos where they will be able to watch, and we hope they will never miss something out of our videos. So thank you for being our continued supporter in this channel, and we never take that one for granted. Thank you. So let's go on. As I've said, a host is a very important person in your DV Lottery process or in your DV Lottery life, because you need your host to provide you with your host information and address during the process of filling the DS260 forms. So you need to keep in touch with your host going forward after filling the DS260 form. Always keep your host posted on every step you make in the DV Lottery process. By keeping in touch with your host, you will be able to learn so many things and life changes in your host. If your host changes address or moves to another state, it is good to know that information and change that information in your DS260 form before going for your interviews. For some embassies like Nairobi Embassy, Kenya, they normally ask for a depth of support from I-134 from your host. So for those who will be having their interviews from Nairobi Embassy, it's good to know about Form I-134 and its supporting documents, and keep your host informed about the same. Let your host know that at one point in your DV Lottery process, you'll need this affidavit of support and get to know his or her reactions in advance. I'm saying this because I know some people are ready to host you but are not ready to provide you with Form I-134 and its supportive documents like IRS tax returns, copy of the driving license, copy of the passport, or a copy of their certificate of naturalization in case your host has become a US citizen. And please be very keen on the response that you get from your host when you mention about Form I-134 and its supportive documents. This will enable you detect and red flags from your host, and if any, start thinking of Plan B. I'm saying this because some DV Lottery winners, they have got frustrated at the time they are going for their interviews when they request a depth of support from their host, and they get that their hosts are not willing or they are very cooperative to give this form. So it's good that you keep them in touch, posted about what is required in your embassy. By now you know what you need for your interviews. Then if your host will not be willing to give that information, it's good that you know in advance and see what you can do before you get your 2NL and before you go for your visa interviews. In this case, you will be able to look for another alternative host who will be willing to host you and provide you with a depth of support in advance, or you look for someone who will be willing to just provide you with the affidavit of support, but be hosted by your first host, who was willing just to host you but not to give you the affidavit of support. So in this case, you can have someone who is going to host you and someone is going to provide you with affidavit of support. It is easy, and then the end of the day, you let the embassy know all about that. The other thing that you need to know about your host is that at the port of entry, you will be asked also about your host information, whether you are going to the host that you provided in your DS260 form, or you changed your host and you are going to a different location. So the immigration officer at the port of entry, they will always ask you about it, more especially when they look at your DS260 form and they see that the location you are, the port of entry that you are in is quite different from the state that you are supposed to go. So they will always ask and be always honest, provide them with the information they want. So if you changed your host, you will be required to provide the new host information, that is their phone number and address. And of course, after being admitted to the United States, you need your host to come and pick you and your family from the airport and take you to his or her home or house in that case. At your host's place, your host will make sure that you settle down fast as they can. And if you have come in the United States with kids, your host will have to guide you on how to go about getting your school-going kids admitted to schools in the United States. After that, your host will need to show you around and help you process your social security number for you and your derivatives, because the first thing you need to process when you get to the United States is the social security number, SSN. That is the number that will allow you now be able to apply for jobs and get jobs in the United States. When you apply, you make sure you apply for your kids also and everyone in your DV lottery that you came with to the United States. Your host will also assist you go through the process of obtaining your driving license, help you get a job, help you get a car after you have started working, and finally, your host will help you settle down in your own apartment. So guys, all these things that I've just talked about, their success or failure will depend on the type of hosts that you will be having in your DV lottery. Some hosts will help you settle down so fast, others may make you take time to settle down. So it also depends and it varies from one person to another. You understand, people not the same. Also, even after moving to your own apartment, you'll still need someone who knows you to co-sign with you when you are renting an apartment, because at the time you are moving, you could have not built a good credit history or a credit score that will enable you rent an apartment by your own. So you need someone with a good credit or someone who knows you to co-sign you or to assure them that they know you and you are reliable. You'll be able to meet your financial obligations like paying the rent and bills in the apartment that you are about to rent. And not forgetting, even after moving to your own apartment, some of your documents could be going or be sent to your host address. So you need your host to deliver them to you. So do not cut the links with your host. Some other information will always be sent to your host. So if you had cut the relationship with your host, they will never send those documents to you, and some of them may be very important. So I'm advising you that you keep your good relationship with your host, because you never know when you need them. So guys, that's why I always advise, if you can, please keep a good relationship with your host as long as you can. And even after moving on, after moving to your own apartment, after moving maybe to another state, you may at one time in your life be required to provide certain information on where you started your life from, or certain information about your host. So this information will only be obtained from your first host in the United States. So it's good that even if you differ on matters of principle, when you move out, just understand it's normal people to differ with one another, but that one does not mean that you cut the links with your host. Keep them in touch, and in case you need their help, they will be always there for you. Thank you guys for watching our videos, and at this time we request you always to consider subscribing, share our videos, make comments and like them. Thank you, and see you in our next video. Stay safe as we wait for